Hey everyone, and welcome to the Hunter of Hunters challenge. So a couple of weeks ago, I put out the call to you guys to submit clips of you killing as many hunters as you could in 15 minutes. And you guys did really well. We got about 100 submissions, and who you're seeing on screen now are first, second, and third place out of those 100 submissions. And let me tell you, these guys did amazingly. In the top left we have Grey, in the top right we have Winter, and in the bottom left we have Arcane. They have little symbols that represent their names, but these aren't in any particular order. We're just going to watch them race now, and we're going to see who got to the end first, who killed 5 hunters in the shortest amount of time, and what different strategies each character used. I mean, even this early in the clips, you can already see a few unique elements of each run taking shape. For example, Grey, in the top left, he was the only one who got those 2 blood vials from Jesper's clinic. The other 2 have 0 blood vials, and that just goes to show how fine-tuned these runs are. I mean, it would have taken them about 5 seconds to get those extra blood vials, but these guys are in the top 3 because they don't plan on using those blood vials, because they don't plan on getting hit. The one thing they all did get were the Molotov cocktails, which are a very important tool. And right here, we notice the first major difference in these runs. That was the most efficient time to go to the Hunter's Dream, and Grey has decided to forego it completely. Now, that was actually a fairly uncommon thing compared to the other runs that I received. Most people decided to brave that terrible loading screen and go and get their weapons of choice. Most of the time, their weapons of choice were the Hunter's Axe and the Blunderbuss. In the bottom left, Arcane picks up the Axe and heads back to Central Yharnam. But in the top right, Winter gets the Axe and the Blunderbuss, which turns out to influence the way he plays. And that's a thing we notice. Each of these characters now has different tools, and they have different strengths and different weaknesses based on those tools. For example, Grey, in the top left, he just picked up some oil urns, which will allow him to do more damage with Molotov cocktails, and he can afford to do this because he's in the lead, but it's also necessary for him to do this because compared to the other 2, he's going to have a much weaker weapon. As I'm sure a lot of you have guessed, he's currently running towards the Saw Spear. Now, the Saw Spear is a good weapon, but it's not the best weapon for taking out hunters. It doesn't have the ability to stagger hunters as effectively as the Hunter's Axe does, and because he doesn't have a gun, it also means that he'll have to find new strategies to take them out. Luckily, weapons don't matter too much in this fight with Eileen. He starts us off with an oil urn and a Molotov, followed by a visceral attack and another Molotov cocktail. Now he's going to leg it back to the rafters, and he's going to try and get Eileen to fall off at the point where she can take the most damage from falling. All 3 of them use this technique, and Grey has no real trouble taking out Eileen here. She can throw knives, which can make that encounter a little bit longer, but he pretty much did that as fast as possible. The only thing that is adding to his timer here is the time it takes him to pick up the Saw Spear. From start to finish, Grey's encounter with Eileen takes exactly 30 seconds. If you cast your eyes down to the bottom left, we see Arcane preparing for his fight with Eileen, and just a fraction behind him is Winter. Both of these players have Molotov cocktails equipped in their hotbars, and Arcane puts them to good use here. He starts off his encounter in the fastest way possible by lobbing 4 Molotov cocktails at Eileen before noticing that she's become hostile. On the other hand, Winter, in the top right, employs a tactic similar to Grey by visceral attack and R2ing her until she's low enough. Arcane has run back to the rafters and he's waiting for Eileen, but he gets really unlucky here and she starts pegging knives at him, so he lost a little bit of time there. On the top right, Winter is waiting for Eileen. He gets the perfect drop and also the perfect drop down to the sewers. You can notice that he actually caught up to Arcane by doing a perfect jump down there. Right now they all have 1 hunter killed. Winter and Arcane are still arch-nemeses, and Grey is about to start his encounter with Gascoigne. And this is the point where you'd be surprised how quickly that Arcane and Winter catch up to Grey. He has a huge head start here. They still have to go to the end of the sewers and go up the ladders, but Grey has to deal with using this weaker weapon on Gascoigne. That said, he does have a fairly good fight with him, especially towards the second half, you'll see what I mean. So he's forced to go with the safe option of getting Gascoigne stuck behind the graves. It's definitely a safer option, but you can see here that his weapon is really just chipping away at his health. The real damage that Grey does in this fight is through perfect use of oil and Molotovs. So as soon as Gascoigne transforms into his two-handed axe mode, it's no longer a good idea for him to try and hit him behind the graves. He's already getting hit a few times, and as soon as Gascoigne lengthens that axe, there's pretty much no hope that he's going to effectively be able to hit him. Perfectly timed oil urn there, as well as a perfectly timed Molotov that follows it up. And at this point in the clips, there's too much going on, I can't comment on everything. In the top left, Grey times a Molotov at the exact moment Gascoigne transforms, and it does a huge amount of damage. In the bottom left, Arcane manages to get Gascoigne stuck on the stairs, which allows him to chip away at his health very slowly, but also very safely. But in the top right, look how fast Winter is killing Gascoigne. With a combination of Molotov cocktails, perfectly timed visceral attacks, and charged R2s, he is absolutely decimating Gascoigne, and I think he actually kills him in 56 seconds, which is the record for these three. Even when he goes into beast form, he still takes him out perfectly. Those charged one-handed axe R2s are absolutely insane. Even in beast form, he gets staggered. But that's the Gascoigne for Winter, so congratulations on the fastest Gascoigne kill I've ever seen. And Arcane in the bottom left, he's still chipping away, but he does make up a fair amount of time by using Molotov cocktails here. They do a massive amount of damage when he's in beast form. So 6 minutes in, and all three hunters have 2 hunter kills under their belt. In the lead, still, is Grey in the top left, and he's preparing for his fight with Alfred. Alfred is the key to killing 5 hunters. When I announced this challenge, I managed to kill 3 hunters, and I knew it would be possible to kill 4, but I didn't really expect anyone to kill 5. I was proven completely wrong. There were quite a lot of 5 hunter kill submissions, and all of them contained Alfred. Now, he's difficult to kill for a couple of reasons, but the main one, I reckon, is the fact that his shotgun can one-shot you. It's very hard to dodge those shotgun blasts, so in all of these clips, the players have to manage to keep him in his hammer form or keep him stun-locked the entire time. And all 3 of them have very different techniques for taking him out. So Grey starts off the encounter by getting the fire paper from Alfred, and as soon as he cooperates with him, he stabs him in the back with his fiery saw spear. This is followed up by a technique that I only learned from watching him. If you backstab Alfred, and then you follow it up with a Molotov cocktail, while he's switching out his weapons, you can actually get another visceral attack. So watch him here, he does it now. Molotov, and another backstab. You can't do this over and over again. Now that he has his weapons out, Alfred is going to react. So he pegs another Molotov, and now it's time to use up all that stamina, get as much damage as you can, and lure him back to the doorway that Arcane just went through. So now all 3 hunters are engaging Alfred, and they all take him out in a completely different way, which is great to watch. So in the top left, Grey is luring Alfred to the doorway because he wants to get Alfred stuck outside of his aggro range, and whenever an NPC is outside of their aggro range, they desperately try to run back inside that aggro range, but they can't attack while they're running. So if you manage to balance Alfred on your character, then he won't be able to enter back into the aggro range. This is really dangerous, which is why the other 2 don't do it. And you notice a few times in Grey's footage that he actually gets hit by Alfred. But he has no other choice. He has to do this to Alfred because he doesn't have a hunter's axe. And as you can see, the other 2 are making very good use of that hunter's axe. In the top right, Winter is getting Alfred stuck in a visceral attack cycle, which is done by flattening him with R2, following up with 2 shotgun blasts, and then doing a visceral attack. He comes very close to dying here because some torch guy in the background actually hit him through the fence. Winter does manage to kill Alfred here, but unfortunately he has to wait to get the fire paper from Alfred, and I think he lost a little bit of time by not getting that fire paper beforehand. So 3 hunters for the top 2, and Arcane is close behind, just whittling away at Alfred with that R2 spin attack. It's certainly one of the more difficult ways of killing Alfred. Arcane actually comes quite close to death in a moment here. The thing I like most about the Alfred part of the challenge is that everyone had such a different way of dealing with him, and each one of those ways was indicative of the tools that they had, and it all goes back to those decisions they made at the Hunter's Dream. So right now, Grey is in the lead, he's just entering Old Yharnam, and as I'm sure a lot of you can guess, again, they're going to be going for the 2 hunters in Old Yharnam. So there's a Saw Spear Hunter coming up, and then there's Jura at the top of the tower. This is it. Who do you think's going to win? So Grey faces some complications, he is in the lead, but think about how difficult it's going to be to knock off Jura from the top of his tower and deal damage to the Saw Spear Hunter. Winter has those advantages. He can shoot Jura off the tower, he can poke him with his long-range axe, and even Arcane has the axe with the fire paper so he can deal a lot of damage. This does get close. So right now, Grey has engaged the Saw Spear Hunter. He's using his favoured tactic of dodging out of the way at the last second, then knocking him outside of his aggro range, and Winter decides to actually run past the Saw Spear Hunter. He's going straight for Jura. At first I thought he was going to lose time by doing this, but it actually takes a long time for Jura to fall off the tower and count as a death, so it does make sense doing Jura first. And you're seeing how little damage that Saw Spear is doing to the Saw Spear Hunter. Winter is absolutely catching up, and in a moment, if he successfully kills Jura, he's going to have 4 hunters killed. Cast your eyes down to Arcane for a moment here, because he has perfected the art of killing the Saw Spear Hunter. Winter just poked Jura off the top of his tower, and Winter is in the lead with 4 hunters killed. However, Grey is close behind. He kills the Saw Spear Hunter. Now Winter and Grey have 4 hunters killed. Grey is climbing the tower to get his last kill. Winter is about to try and kill the Saw Spear Hunter. He's got to be quick. But look how quick Arcane is killing that hunter with the axe. That is the advantage that Winter has. Alright, so he's duped him. And he's getting ready to attack here. He's doing a fair bit of damage. Grey is climbing that tower. He's going to have a lot of trouble killing Jura. Here he goes. 3 dashes. 1 through the shotgun blast. 1 shotgun blast goes under his arm. Jura falls down the tower. It takes a long time for his echoes to count. But there it is. Grey gets 5 hunters killed in 11 minutes and 50 seconds. And now it's a fight for second place. Arcane is at the top of the tower. He's going to use the same method of poking Jura. Jura has fallen. The Saw Spear Hunter has died. Which one's echoes will come first? Winter gets it. Arcane, 1.5 seconds afterwards. First place, coming in at 11 minutes and 50 seconds, is Grey. Second place, coming in at 12 minutes and 4 seconds, is Winter. And with only about 1.5 seconds between them, Arcane comes in third place at 12 minutes and 6 seconds. He did a brilliant job at catching up at the end there. So congratulations to our winners. You can find their YouTube channels in the description, so give them a subscription and see if our talented runners can come out with some videos in the next few weeks. On top of that though, congratulations to all of the contestants and all of the entrants. I had such a brilliant time going through all the submissions. Every single one I watched was really exciting, and every time that I thought that I had seen the fastest run, I was like, yep, no one can do that faster. But every single time I said that, I got a new submission the next day that was even faster than that, and watching them all was really exciting. A special mention to the hunters that decided to lure the Saw Spear Hunter off this ladder. I thought that was funny. And lastly, a huge thank you to PlayStation for sponsoring this competition. That was so appreciated. I'll be contacting the winners of this challenge and the Nightmare Challenge as well, and as a result of this challenge I hope someone new can get to experience the wonder that is Bloodborne, because we did have a couple of PS4s up for grabs. So, I'll see you all in the next one, and if I have an idea for another challenge, I think I'll let you know in another video or on Twitter, as I'm not quite sure where to take this series at the moment. But cheers guys, thanks for watching.